It is time for your WIN podcast for super busy professionals sharing transformational moments. Your host, Chu Tang.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Your Win podcast. Today, I have my special guest with me, Richard. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you. I'm a pleasure to be here.
Hey, Richard, I have one question for the podcast. Do you have a transformational moment in your life where it changed your life forever from that point on?
Absolutely. 2006, I don't remember the month, but a friend of mine at work gave me a video or a DVD of a movie called The Secret. And I'd heard of it, but then I took the movie home and watched it. And all I got from that, it wasn't about riches and wealth, but what struck me was, in my words, you create your life by the way you think. And I said, what in the world does that mean? Because I had good exterior life, but I wasn't a very positive person inside. And I spent 6 years digging intensely into this thought process and videos and audios and soundtracks to understand what do you mean by the way you think. And I really came to it's the way you think and the way you feel about the way you think. And I say that transformed my life because I realized around 2012 when I finally came out of that fog of where I was going, how do I shape my life from there? And since then, I've been really on track with so many things and lots of boo-boos, but there is no mistakes. Life is an experience, and that process has allowed me to experience many wonderful things in relationships and people. So how you think and how you feel about the way you think is really the key, and finding that feeling inside that's really deep of compassion for yourself, self-forgiveness, and love for yourself is something that you can really move forward in life, and that helps you build relationships and so many connections. I'm just grateful for that opportunity. Thank you.
So when you watch the movie, is it during the movie that you were inspired?
Yeah, I think so. I think at the end of it, because there was a lot of what I call fluff, it's magical, you just sit down, but it's, just that maybe that was my interpretation of it at the time, but I really, I just thought, how do you think? Because again, the negativity. So, and then, as I become an EFT practitioner and more, I really understand the emotional content of thinking and the emotions that drive us, and really the unconscious. The unconscious is the one running the show, not your conscious.
Yeah, it's the boss, right? It's the boss.
It's voting rights are like 1,000 to 1 for what the unconscious. So that unconscious pattern, when you really understand that and how to shift that, and that's one of the things I'm quite good with, is that has shifted so much for me, and I've stayed with that I've never lost that thought process of how you think and feel is how your life will show up for you.
So if you take us back, sorry.
No, go ahead.
If you take us back to that moment, I'm curious, to that moment before you watch the movie, after you watch the movie, how your life shifted.
Well, again, the movie was, to watch this, and I thought I was curious because I've always been unconsciously, I've always been a seeker. I've always been curious of why life is such, and there's lots of things we have in our life, but why, always asking why. And just watching that was in a sense of, and again, I didn't look at it with some golden platter. I realized, that part of thinking and feeling was up to me. Now, I was responsible for that. And that's a big, something else I found out. I was responsible for my world and my creation. It starts with me, and the world shows up around me. So when I took responsibility for that, that's, again, if it's, that was life-changing for me to really show up in my own life and take responsibility, and how can I change and shift my life to make it better. And I could give you a long list of so many great things have happened, hence where I'm living right now with my wife. But again, I took responsibility for my life as I'm in it, and it's my show.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I mean, it's an
I,
honor to. It's a great question.
I should watch the movie.
Again,
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So
very
if you
welcome.
if you guys like this episode, come back, and until then, stay happy and hopeful. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
So what do you think of the podcast format?
I love it because it's nice and simple, and you're right. It's
Okay.
just it's got a like I said, a bite to it because it's not a long podcast. It's just somebody who's curious. Oh, what's this? I can click on this for a few minutes. I can click on this for a few minutes, and then you just it's not somebody trying to do their long pitch.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So talk about bite. I'm curious, is there any street food in Mexico?
Well, there is at the vendors, like they set up these stands, and
Yeah.
for lots of in the actual in the city of itself, there'll be all these food stands set up, and you can buy tacos,
Oh,
quesadillas, burritos now, especially at events like we're here. So there's a main square, so there's probably about 10 vendors in there setting up on a regular basis.
is it different than in US? Because I used to live in Portland, and in Portland, they have this street vendor. I wonder if is the Mexican food the same or much better?
Well, I think that the spices here are better, are much tangier, tougher, right? Because when we first came and we were at an event, and we sat down, and the spice are there. So I'm reaching for one, and I'm watching the Mexicans, and they're really good. They look at you and go, so you reach for the next one and go, and then you reach the third and you go like this, like teeny, take a little bit, right? So I mean, they're mild as ass kicking for me, right? So but just the people here are really what I call gracious, and they watch you now, and they'll help you. I've had so many things I could say of how I've been guided with them, or I needed some help, and they went out of their way to help me. I'm just a gringo, right? And they have, my wife and I make sure we're very polite and courteous to them, and they respond magically with us because
wow.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of people come down with attitude, and I feel bad for this.
Yeah. I don't understand. I don't understand why people go to a new country and they have an attitude, expect everything to be the same as from home.
Well, and you should know that from your own background, right? Like it said, so coming in here, we're the guests, so we try and make sure we wait for them to see us so we can have that acknowledgement, and then we ask our questions, and again, everybody has treated us very, very well.
Oh, nice. So what so they have quesadilla, taco. Is there anything that we don't have it here in US that
I don't know. I don't think anything you don't have, just the fact that there's so much street food here. I mean, they sell tens of thousands of those little corn taco rolls. They put all kinds of stuff. People like set up, and have like coolers full of stuff, and people buy their, plates of tacos, and everybody eats with their hands.
No, it's natural for me because I was born in Cambodia. We eat with our hands.
Yeah. So you just the fact the spices and cut up meat. They had a taco fest where the last city, and so I went there twice, and for all these tacos and quesadillas and burritos for 200 pesos, which is about $15. I was stuffed.
Oh,
I was bloated by the time because I just gorged myself. I ate about 8 tacos and these quesadillas that fill a plate, and they filled them full of this really nice, seasoned meat.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah. So it's but just what I see is the vibrancy when they're eating, because they're all talking, they're sharing.
Yeah.
Perhaps like your culture where everybody's talking, and North America people just they close the world off and they fill their face full of a hamburger. And,
So that's why you're right, because I grew up with big family, with a big round table, we talk, and eating is a very sacred moment where you spend time with you, and then you get to enjoy the food. But here, I see people like checking the phone, watching TV, and I was
Oh.
like, oh,
Uh, For me, food always, like I said, I grew up on a farm, so I mean, it wasn't like our own family was pretty quiet in a lot of ways. That's another story. But when I went to work for other farmers, you
yeah,
were at their table, so I
yeah,
had a good appetite and I had manners, so I always was well fed. And my wife says I'm in my happy place when I'm eating. Like I'm just,
yeah,
a family that took me under the wing decades ago. I think all I heard was we have food, so I went there and became part of another family. But I love potlucks. I love sharing over food,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I was at an event in California, and we were from all over the world. Within 15 minutes, people were leaning across the table talking to somebody from another part of the world. And I thought that was in 2014, but it was so magical to watch that moment of
yeah,
150 people just start to engage because
yeah,
we were eating and just
yeah,
you're right. I think food's very unique and very special when we open
yeah.
ourselves up to that.
Yeah, and that's a restaurant here in San Rafael in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
I think it's a Peruvian restaurant, and
Okay.
it's a big table. They have several big table, and when you order food, you just share with the rest other people, and it feels
Wow.
really nice. It feels really
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, and
Yeah.
the food for some reason it tastes really good, even though it's very simple. But I don't know why. Maybe they cook with love or something. It just tastes
Yeah.
really. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Like I think again, it's a lost art, and that's why I find it so special here to watch. And even when you're sitting down, you can sit beside them, and whether you're sitting on a brick, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're part of the group.
Mhm.
And again, they just there's so much energy. Like because we had people come down and stay at a resort, and they would come into the city with us. It was sort of a new environment, but the vibrancy's in the city.
Yeah.
It's not at the resorts. I find very cold. I don't even want to be there. I don't
Yeah,
go.
right. Yeah. Okay.
It's just the vibrancies in the people walking around, and they're gathering, and they're
Yeah.
sharing, and they're laughing, and just
And the music.
yeah. That's what we love here. So we just moved into this. Like I'll send you a video of this Airbnb we're in. It's just stunning, and but we're in
okay.
right in the deep Mexican community here. So it's where we love to be.
Cool. Maybe I don't know if you have pictures of the street food or anything. I could attach it to the end of this podcast too when I post it.
I can get some. I'll take some for and send them to you. But yeah, and well, actually, we do. Let me take. Yeah, I'll dig some up and send them to you. But yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Cool.
thank you so much. Yeah. Let's keep in touch. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Okay. You have a good night.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share. See you soon at Your Win Podcast.